Hello and welcome to another video with me, Christian Rauchenwald. Now in today's video, I'm going to answer the question if eToro is legit or is it a scam? Or in other words, is it possible for you and other people out there to make money by investing on eToro? Now, if you're already familiar with my channel, then you know that I recently published a video explaining the social trading aspect of eToro, which is one part that we only going to briefly cover today because we already made a video about it. So if you're curious about that aspect specifically, I'm going to put a card up here so you can check that video out as well. Now let's talk about eToro and if eToro is legit or if it's a scam or basically if it's possible for you to make money. For that, we'll have to look at different aspects and at the ups and downsides because there is no such thing as a perfect platform or perfect system. Every provider out there, no matter which one you choose, will have some ups and downs, and you need to pick the one that has the most upsides or benefits for you. Now, before we get into all of that, let's get the legal disclaimers that I have to mention out of the way. First of all, whatever I'm sharing in this video is my personal opinion and it's in no way financial advice. You need to do your own research and not just follow some talking head on the internet. Second of all, eToro mostly offers CFDs, which are contract for difference. And statistically, 75% of people that invest money in CFDs on eToro lose their money. We're going to talk about that specifically throughout the video as well. Now, is eToro legit or is it a scam? We can answer that question very quickly straight out of the gate by looking at eToro's structure. eToro actually consists of 3 different companies, and depending on where you live on the world, you will actually be partnered with one of those companies. eToro has an eToro UK company, which is responsible for their business in UK. They have a company registered in Cyprus, which handles the rest of the European and most likely also the US business. And they have another company in Australia, which is regulated there. For all those 3 companies, you can find the detailed information on the eToro website, including the company's registration numbers and at which government authority they are registered with. So we can confidently say that eToro is a legitimate business, or actually multiple businesses, that perform financial services almost all over the world. Now let's address the elephant in the room. 75% of people investing into CFDs on eToro actually end up losing money. You may be surprised or even shocked by that number, but there's actually a saying when it comes to trading in general, and that goes 90% of people will lose 90% of their money within the first 90 days. And it's fairly accurate. It's the reason why most trading providers or brokers or platforms actually serve as the counterpart to most users' trades. So your trades are not necessarily executed with other parties outside, but the brokers themselves serve as the counterparty because they know that 90% of the people that sign up and start trading will lose 90% of the money within the first 90 days. Therefore, if the broker decides to become the counterparty of your trades, they have a high chance of making a profit by you losing money. Now that doesn't necessarily help you, but it's important to understand how things usually work and how brokers end up making their profit. But the bigger question is, why do so many people end up losing money fairly quickly? And the number one answer to that is simple: greed, or not having a proper bankroll management. So investing basically all their money into one stock, for example, and then not having the patience to wait for the stock to recover if it falls initially. Which automatically brings us to one of the bigger differences between platforms like eToro, where you can start trading with as little as $50 if you, for example, live in the US, or as little as $200 if you live within Europe, for example, and other platforms where you have minimum deposits of $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 or more. The low minimum deposit amount and the minimum order position of $50 that eToro offers is a curse and a gift at the same time. It allows people with low disposable income still to monthly or every second month deposit new funds into their account and increase their positions and therefore build up a sizable stock portfolio over time. Whereas it also invites people to gamble because it means desperate people that maybe only have $50 left and don't understand or don't want to believe that they shouldn't gamble with their last money, deposit those $50, enter a high leverage trade, get it wrong and lose their money. So as always, there's 2 sides to this coin as well, but overall I consider it an upside because it means that you as a trader or as an investor can start investing with a low amount. You don't have to commit a huge amount of cash initially, and if you decide to invest monthly or quarterly, for example, you also don't have to come up with as much cash to start growing your portfolio. And in case you haven't been aware, depositing monthly regularly, so for example depositing $50 or $100 every month and then buying more stocks will actually help you in the long run, because you will benefit from something called the cost average effect. So while you initially may buy a stock at a higher price and then it falls, you will then actually next month with your next $50 or $100 get more shares, because now the stock is cheaper, and once it eventually recovers, you will actually have a bigger profit thanks to your lower average buying price. So that's one of the aspects of eToro. It allows you to invest in different assets, like for example stocks, commodities, cryptocurrencies, and so on, and it has a fairly low deposit amount and a fairly low minimum order value. So again, if you're within the US, you can start with as little as $50 as your first deposit. Within Europe, you would look at a $200 minimum deposit, and your minimum order position for most assets is also only $50. Now, for almost all the assets available on eToro, you can also use a leverage. And trading with a leverage would mean, for example, if I invest $100 with a 10-time leverage, I will actually be trading with $1,000, which means automatically I cannot watch the stock or the asset I'm investing in fall endlessly, because after a 10% loss, I would have already lost my entire $100, which means it will automatically place a stop loss around 50% of that amount to prevent you from losing everything or having a complete margin call that wipes out your whole account. Now, trading with leverage is something that comes with high risk, and it's one of the reasons why, again, 75% of people investing in CFDs actually end up losing money. I understand that it's tempting, because when you're right, you make more profit because you have the leverage in place, but every time you're wrong, it will increase your drawdown. So trading with leverage actually is something that you in most cases shouldn't do. I personally have a total of 3 eToro accounts. I have my personal account where I'm investing myself. I have a second account where I'm copy trading other popular investors, so people that I deem are great at what they're doing, to diversify my own portfolio further. And I have a leverage account where I'm basically playing with casino money, so where I'm basically only depositing a very small amount of the money that we have available for investing, and where I'm using leverage to trade with. Now, if you're curious about those accounts, you can find links to all of them in the description down below. And also, if you want to create your own eToro account, you can find another link in the description down below to sign up right now. Which brings us to another very important aspect of eToro, the onboarding process. Unlike other trading platforms that I used in the past, eToro actually enables you to get started almost straight away without a lot of bureaucracy in the way. Once you sign up, you have a simple onboarding process where you have to provide your name, obviously, the country of your residence, a verified phone number, and some other minor things, but you can already start while your verification is still pending. And you're able to deposit and therefore invest your money almost instantly. Now, this is really one of the huge upsides in my opinion, because you can get started straight away. You don't have to wait days or weeks for your account to get verified before you are able to invest. But that's not all that makes eToro great in my opinion. Another aspect, what I already mentioned initially and where I made a separate video about it, as mentioned, you can find it in the card up here, is actually eToro's social trading feature, which is there to help people that have no time or no skill or not enough knowledge to actually invest themselves. So you can look at other traders and how they are performing, and you can then decide to simply invest your money into them. And every trade that they are executing will be executed for you as well. So if you pick the right traders, they will actually do the work for you. If they are part of eToro's popular investor program, they will eventually be compensated, but it doesn't affect your performance in any way. So if the trader makes a 10% profit, you will make a 10% profit. Simple as that. eToro basically pays the commission, or however you want to call the payment, that the investor receives as a bonus for having people copying him, from the spread, so from the difference between the buy and the ask price, where eToro makes their general revenue. Now that sounds very tempting and it's really a great thing, but you need to be really careful with your research when it comes to popular investors. There are a lot of people that get into the popular investors program because they have a couple of months of positive history, and then eventually they bust their account because they didn't really know what they were doing, and you don't want to copy those. Thankfully, you can set separate stop loss limits for every popular investor that you're copying to prevent a total wipeout of your account if some of your popular investors go completely nuts. However, it's even better to, in the first place, simply pick only popular investors that have a proven track record and that are on the highest eToro popular investor levels. Now, why does the level or status of a popular investor matter? Because they also have to trade with real money. So if you're, for example, looking at a popular investor profile that is within Europe, then the highest status there would be an elite trader. And to become an elite trader, the popular investor himself has to trade with $50,000 or more of his own money, which means that he is more incentivized or has a higher incentive to actually perform well, because if he screws up, he will not only start losing copiers and therefore get less commission from eToro as a popular investor, but on top of that, he's also going to start losing money from his own $50,000 or more investment. Now, outside of Europe, you preferably would look at champion popular investors, because again, they have the highest requirement when it comes to their own funds that they have to have within their account. Again, making it more likely that they have a huge incentive and motivation to actually perform well with their account. Besides that, one of the main reasons why I personally prefer eToro over other platforms is because they have an easy to use user interface. It works well on your mobile phone, on your laptop, and on your computer or tablet, so you can at any time and place easily manage your portfolio, place new orders, close existing positions, and so on. They also provide you with deep insights and charts for each of the assets that is available, which allow you to do some basic analysis of the stock or other asset that you're looking at, which is quite nice when you're trading yourself. However, if you're really trading yourself, you're probably using something else like tradingview.com for your technical analysis. Now, before we go and look at the only downside that I personally see with trading on eToro, let's talk about how to withdraw your money. And there, personally, I also think eToro is doing a great job, because it's fairly easy, it's fairly fast, and they only charge a withdrawal fee of $5 per transaction. So compared to some other providers out there, it's really transparent and it's not expensive for you to withdraw your funds from eToro when you want to do so. Obviously, not everything can be great. There is no such thing as a perfect provider, perfect platform, perfect program, no matter what you're looking at. And with eToro, it's the same. So there's one downside, although it only applies to people outside of the US, and that is that eToro only offers one base currency, so the currency your account is in, and that's US dollars. So if you're living within Europe, for example, and your actual main currency of your daily life is euro, when you deposit on eToro, you will have to suffer a small conversion fee and your funds will be converted to US dollar. Now, that by itself is obviously not that bad. However, it also means that your portfolio is constantly handled in US dollars. So if the US dollar, for example, increases in value against the euro, you will automatically make profit when you withdraw. But if the US dollar decreases in value against the euro, even if you make a profit with your investment, you may still at the end be break even or have a slight loss, because again, when you withdraw the money, it will be converted again from US dollar to euro. So you are basically constantly exposed to the euro US dollar conversion rate, or whatever other currency is your main currency compared to US dollar. Only for people within the US or people that anyway have their accounts for whatever reason constantly in US dollar will that downside not apply. So eToro is really best if you're a US citizen or if you anyway have an account that you constantly manage in US dollars. I still consider the upsides outweigh the small downside of having US dollar as a base currency there. For us specifically, it's not as bad because we have most of our income streams in US dollars, so we are anyway constantly exposed to the euro US dollar conversion rates. Now, that's pretty much it. As mentioned, if you are curious about my eToro profiles and the performance that I personally achieve, or the portfolios that I decided to copy in my copy portfolio, make sure to check the links in the description and in the first comment down below. If you want to create a free account on eToro and get started with investing yourself, then also check the description or the first comment down below and follow the link there. And with that, I'm going to ask you, let me know in the comments down below, what is your opinion about eToro? Are you already investing on eToro or maybe on another provider? Do you think there's another provider out there that has benefits? Do you think I missed something in this video that's important to other users? Or do you completely agree with everything that I just said? As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. See you in one of my next videos. Till then, bye bye.